and he would touch on me. He would have the signal like come down, like like a signal saying it's time to come down, or like nod his head. Nobody would know this signal, and I would literally sit right next to my siblings, and I'm thinking they could see this but they can't. I don't know what was wrong, but they couldn't see. There was this one time where he would like tell me to come downstairs, and I'm sitting with my siblings, and we go downstairs, and he would put me in the laundry room, and then he would proceed on me touching his private parts and guide me to do whatever he wants me to do. I felt like if I didn't do it, I would be in trouble, because most of the times I was always in trouble for little things. So I was so confused of what's happening. I was just doing what I was told because that was our parent and everything. Yeah, he would. Whenever he's done, I just go back upstairs and pretend like everything is okay, and just sit back down and like nothing happened. And that would happen whenever he was ready for me, or whenever he seen me. It was often, very often, every week. There's not a day that passed that wouldn't happen. From third grade until like I was 15, starting to go down a little bit. As I got older and as I got more wiser, it started to go down more. Started to do less. I tried to tell my mom. That is the first person who I've have tried to tell. She didn't believe me when I told her, because how it started was that I got in trouble by him. I would always get in trouble by him for no reasons. I would always get in trouble by him, and that got me mad. And then so I told him in the car that he's not a good father, because if he was a good father, this is not what a good father does, even to us, their stepkids. This is not what they do. You're not a good father. And he told my mom. He loved to tell my mom to get me in trouble so me and my mom could fight and have bad relationship and everything. He always did that. He was very good at it, because my mom would always believe him and everything, never me. So he told my mom, and then my mom has came to me and talked to me about why I'm not being nice to my stepdad, and we have to be nice to him because he chose to raise us and our real father is not there and all that. That got me mad, because she didn't know who he really was. And I tried to tell her he's not even a good person, because if he was a good person, he wouldn't be touching me. Mind you, he didn't only touch me, it happened to my older sister too. So we sat there, and me and my older sister tried to tell my mom that it happened to us and everything. And from there, it was a crazy day. There was other people who I've told too, school counselors, since he always trying to stalk me in schools and everything. He would always try to check me out or make sure I'm in class, or he would always stalk me. So I have got mad because he came to my school, and then he was talking about my grade and everything. Yes, I was failing classes and everything. I was depressed. I just didn't care no more. I didn't care no more. When we told my mom that my stepdad been sexually abusing us and everything, her response was called later that day. She basically just had us going in our room. So I went to the room, and then over that night, I believe she called this a Muslim preacher or something. She called him because she would like to get a lot of advice from him and everything. So she called the Muslim preacher, and she told him what we told her. And then from what I know that day is that was really it. They talked, and she told him what we told her, and they did what they did. But it wasn't really like, it wasn't big. It was just like, next. When that happened, it stopped. It did stop. That was swept under the rug. But then there was the other time where I told, the school counselor, and then the police had came to my mom's house, and then from there, that's when they have explained to her everything I have reported to the police, and how my stepdad been touching me, sexually abusing me. And that's when she got mad. And she said that I was lying and that I was failing my classes. That's why she's mad. And she's just failing her classes and everything. And then the police was like, well, that's what she told us, and we got to take this far because that's actually serious. If you don't believe if you don't believe her, that's on you, kind of thing. So my sister stood up that day. Luckily she was there, and she said that yeah, it's actually true because that happened to me too. That happened to me too. He had sexually abused me. He would molest me, come at night, touching me. So the police took that and explained everything that was going on. And then what they said from there was that they were going to go to his work and basically question him and everything. And that's what they did. And then that night he didn't come back home and all that. But the funny thing is that I thought he got arrested. So what I have learned is that he didn't actually go to jail. I thought he went to jail, but no, it was just like an investigation room type of thing. And that's what they took him to. And then he got out, and then he went to his nephew's house and explained everything, because I have all this my recording on my YouTube, where it's like he said a lot of stuff that I was like shocked about. I just thought they took him in, which they didn't. They took him in for questioning. That's what they did. I had enough of getting beat up, being sexualized by my stepdad and everything. The day I left has to do with the day I called the police on him when I was at school with the counselors. Yeah, that's when I felt like it was enough, and I was scared to stay in the same house as him. I didn't know what was going to go on. Literally the next day I left and I booked my plane, and I told my mom that I was going, and I went to another state. That's what I did, because he had a restraining order, like, you know, the restraining orders where we couldn't come in contact or anything, but we were living in the same house. How's that going to work? Yeah, I knew he was going to either do something to me. I just felt that in my guts I had to leave. That's all my guts was telling me. I had to leave. I was 17 at the time. I booked my bag. I told my mom I was leaving. I'm not coming back. I'm not going to stay in this house. If you're not going to really do anything about this, I'm going to take matters in my own hands and I'm going to leave. You can make it seem like I ran away, whatever you want to say, because there's always some bad stuff they would say about me. So I said, whatever you want to say, that's on you. But I'm leaving because I'm not going to stay in this house with this molester, child abuser, all this. I'm not going to do that. So I left to another state. That's what I did. I knew where I wanted to go, so I was going to another state. My biological dad lived there, and I wanted to live with him. And it turns out that I couldn't live with him because he had a wife, and she didn't believe that I was his daughter, and she thought I was just a young girl trying to, you know, mess with him and everything. So she didn't allow me in her house, and my real dad accepted that. So I had aunts. I had an aunt that lived there too, so I was living with that aunt that lived there. When I moved with my aunt, I was confused, scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't trust them either because it was just weird to me. Like, they would joke around sometimes, be like, yeah, not like your stepdad who raped you. And I hated that. And I just brushed it under the rug. It was weird. I hated living with them because she would always bring something like that up. I was 17 at the time, so I turned 18. I went to school there. I had to graduate there. That was my main thing, graduating. So since my boyfriend lived there too, I got married to my boyfriend because that was the only way out. So I got married to my boyfriend because they were trying to make me marry another dude, arranged marriage and all that. So I wasn't with it. And my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, he did anything in his power to make sure I get married with him. In the Somali Bantu community, kids being molested by their stepdads, especially their stepdads, and other people is very, very common. That is the big thing that happens in the Somali Bantu community, Somali community. I know it happens in a lot of other communities too, but the Somali Bantu is big, and a lot of kids been molested, raped, touched inappropriately, sexually abused by another person, and they don't know how to tell that to a parent, and they are scared to tell that to a parent, because most of the times the parent, they feel like you're ruining their repetition, and that has to be swept under the rug. So either the best thing to do is not say nothing, and that is not right at all. These kids are suffering. I have to believe my kid, because a lot of them don't really believe them because they're young. They don't know what they're talking about. Trust me, these kids know what they're talking about. A 5-year-old is not going to tell you random stuff like that. No, they know. Even though they don't know what's happening, but they know what's being done to them. They know. My advice to anybody watching this would be, do not be afraid to speak up. Speak up, because it will help you in the future. It doesn't matter how much you want to protect your mom or whoever it is. Please speak up for yourself, because that will really help you get through your healing journey. Please speak up, because these predators, these monsters need to be all locked up and in jail. It would really help the future kids and other people who are going through this heal better from all the trauma that they have endured. I just want you to speak up. It's not your fault. It is not your fault. You're brave, you're beautiful. It's not your fault that this happened. It is not your fault that anything sexually you've been sexually assaulted, abused, whatever it is not your fault. Please speak up. And the day is now. Never wait till later. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you guys, okay? Thank you guys.